Welcome back to our NISPOM series. Today we're diving into 32 CFR 117.13 classification, what classification means, who can do it, how derivative classification works, and what contractors must do to stay compliant with classification guidance. First, original classification. Only a U.S. government official who has been designated or delegated in writing can make an original classification decision. Such officials may classify information as top secret, secret, or confidential, and except as statute allows, no other terms may be used. If information doesn't meet the criteria for classification, it is marked unclassified. And when controlled unclassified information, CUI, is together with classified information, the CUI must be clearly marked so users know it's present and understand its sensitivity. Next, derivative classification. Contractor personnel may perform derivative classification when they incorporate, paraphrase, restate, or otherwise generate new material based on already classified sources. When they do this, the newly created material must carry the same classification markings as the source information. Derivative classification must be based on guidance from an original classification authority, whether that's a properly marked source document or a current security classification guide provided by a government classification authority, GCA. Reproducing or duplicating classified information is not derivative classification. Also, when a source document doesn't have portion markings due to an approved waiver, that source must include a warning that it cannot be used for derivative classification. For example, if an email attachment is classified but the body is not, and it's transferred on the classified system, the transmittal is not automatically derivative, but the overall classification must reflect the highest level present in the attachment. Now, what contractors must do when performing derivative classification. They must provide employees with appropriate classification guidance. All employees doing derivative classification are responsible for marking the face of derivatively classified documents with a classification authority block. This includes their name and position or identifier, the entity name, and if applicable, the division or branch. They must also observe and respect original classification decisions. When multiple sources are used, carry forward the declassification date or event that corresponds to the longest classification period among the sources, and also list the source materials themselves. Employees authorized to do derivative classification must be trained in applying these principles at least once every 2 years, and whenever possible, use a classified addendum if just a small part of a document is classified while the rest is not. Moving on to security classification guidance in contract. Contractors should expect the Government Classification Authority, GCA, to include security requirement clauses in solicitations leading to classified contracts, and provide the contractor with the needed classification guidance in what's called the Contract Security Classification Specification or equivalent document. The specification must clearly identify which elements of classified information involved in the contract require protection. Contractors may, as permitted, advise and assist in developing or updating those classification specification documents, but regardless, contractors must comply with all aspects of the guidance. If classification guides change, you must follow the new version. At the end of a classified contract, contractors must return all USG provided or deliverable classified materials unless the GCA directs otherwise. If the GCA allows, contractors may retain copies of USG material for up to 2 years after contract completion. If there's a continuing need past that, GCA must issue a final specification, including instructions for what to do with the copies. Lastly, there's a challenge process. If you believe information has been classified improperly or unnecessarily, you can challenge classification status with the GCA. This includes requests to downgrade or upgrade classification, or if guidance is missing or incorrect. You submit a written challenge with enough detail to identify the issue, why you think it's wrong, and propose what you think should be done. While the challenge is pending, contractors must safeguard the information at the higher assigned classification level until a remedy is given. Also, initiating a challenge cannot be the basis for adverse action against the contractor. Staying compliant means making sure only authorized officials make original classifications, following precise rules for derivative classification, marking correctly, following contract specification guidance, returning or retaining materials as allowed, and using the challenge process when needed. Getting this right keeps your program secure, ensures accountability, and avoids liability. If you haven't already, check out our other NISPOM review videos. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.